Batter up! The baseball and softball teams have both played their first conference games of the season. Our reporters will tell you all you need to know about the beginning of RSC play.
Wiggle room. Find out which rule in the NHL was changed this season and how teams all around the league have been faring since.
And let the madness begin. Brackets are filled out. Which teams could potentially spoil the big dance for some of the favorites? Our reporters will be breaking down the entire bracket for this week's Case of the Week. Now it's time to come on down to the Pioneer sideline. Good evening and welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm Mike Turk.
And I'm Allison Schubert. The men's baseball team has yet to play a home game this season, but they were on the road once again this past week for games against Seton Hill and conference opponent Midway University.
Yes, the Pioneers only played in one game against Seton Hill on Wednesday and 3 games against Midway between Friday and Saturday. For more details on how those games went for the team, we welcome in Robert Berger. Rob, so just how did those games go against Midway over the weekend?
So Midway, we took once again 2 of 3. That was the third time this season. We won the River States Conference play, which is really what we need to focus on throughout the regular season. The first game kind of came down to the wire, and Tyler Doby really came through in the 8th inning, notching a 3-run home run. And then Ryan Huber sealed the deal on the mound. 12 of 13 batters retired right in a row, only through 4.1 innings pitched. Game 2, that was the one we dropped 6-3. It took 12 innings, and the Pioneers did take the lead 3-2 into the 6th inning, but their bullpen completely shut us out, and once we took that lead, we went 6 scoreless innings. Nick Bucci, he really had a game there, though. He threw 5.1 innings and gave up no earned runs. It was just some errors that really affected us in that first inning, giving up 2 runs. And then Game 3, that was our blowout. We won 9-2. Cole Haru pitched the whole game, only giving up 4 hits, and the Point Park offense totaled 14 hits through the whole game.
Now, this team, despite their success in the past few games, are no longer ranked in the top 25 poll. Should we be concerned about that right now?
I don't think so at all. This is something that you see on social media. You see it everywhere. Point Park dropped from the polls. This team's on the polls. And especially our team went 47-9 last year, 23-4 in conference play. Everyone's just kind of worried about that, but really, we need to focus on winning these conference series, and that's exactly what we've been doing, taking 2 and 3 every weekend, just like we have. So if we keep doing that, I think we'll get ourselves back in the conference poll and back in the top of the division, because right now, or in the conference, right now we're in a 3-way tie for second place, and it's a pretty pivotal point in the season now that we've already got 3 series underway.
Now, it's a very competitive conference this year here in the River States, but they got a big one coming up this weekend at Green Tree against IU Southeast, who is currently receiving votes to be in that top 25 spot. So what do you think we'll be seeing this weekend from the Pioneers?
Yeah, it's going to be a really big series. IU Southeast was the one team that really kind of had our number last year in conference play, and right now they are one of the teams tied with us for first place, so it's going to be a battle out there. I expect us to take 2 of 3 again. I'm going to call it here. We have had the pitching with Ryan Huber stepping up in the absence of Nick Beardsley. He's throwing shutout innings after shutout inning. He's got an ERA under 2 points. In the Pioneer offense, they've also really come alive lately. 6 of our players are batting for 400, which is just incredible. And Tyler Doby especially, he's 444 right now, batting for a season average. And just behind him is Ed Pfluger, who's also stepped up his game at 433 in average right now.
Well, Rob, thank you so much for all that information. Appreciate you coming on today. Now, switching things over to softball, the team played in their first game in about 2 weeks last Wednesday for their first home game of the season.
Yeah, Mike, and they played Gannon at home Wednesday, then traveled to Brescia and IU Southeast Friday and Saturday for a couple of conference games. For more details on how the team did to kick off RSC play, we welcome in the Pioneers' own Delaney Bomis.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So, first of all, 6 games in 4 days. How'd they go?
They didn't go as well as we wanted them to, that's for sure. We definitely showed improvement from Florida and from the Gannon games, so that is a step in the right direction, but we didn't do as well as we probably should have.
Now, a little bit of a rocky start. Started off the season 4-11 currently. What do you think some of your major issues are that you need to improve on out there in the field?
I think some of our major issues are we have a really young team. We have our starting shortstop. She's starting for the first time this year. She's only a sophomore. Who's rotating with our other shortstop, who's a freshman. So it's just a lot of gelling that needs to happen, and we have rotating first basemen. We don't really have a solid first baseman right now. It's a lot of things like communication, just chemistry, and things that need to happen defensively that once they click offensively, things will click as well, because right now we're getting spotty hits and they're just not coming together at the right time to string together a couple runs at a time.
So I'm going to kind of ask the same question I asked Rob. It's really early in the season, so do you think that this is a good tell of what's going to happen the rest of the season, or do you think we still have time to see, once those adjustments are made, what you guys can really do?
I think that as the season goes on, like in the past 3 years, we've gotten better as the season has gone on. Even last year, we started off really, really rocky in Florida, and then we almost took conference tournament in May. So I feel like this is a good tell of what we're going to keep improving every weekend, every game, non-conference or conference games. We're going to get better, and things, like I said, are going to start gelling and clicking, and that defense is going to come together. There's going to be less errors, and there's going to be more solid plays. That's going to lead to more solid hits as well on the offensive side.
Okay, Delaney, thank you very much
Yeah,
for
no
coming
problem.
on. Look
Thank
forward to seeing you guys play at home finally this season.
Yeah.
Now, after the break, we'll fill you in on how the Pittsburgh Penguins did in a couple of home games on Saturday and Sunday.
Then later we'll tell you how spring training is going for Bryce Harper as he starts a new chapter with the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll be right back.
All right, we're ready.
Oh, no. You are right here.
Is the wind really necessary, guys? We need the wind. Okay.
You go today. Awful. You. Awful.
Okay, I need someone to make me laugh.
Where's Wyatt? Wyatt's always late, duh.
I'm here. Jealous?
Get out of my way. Stop.
Cool. Okay. And now we're smiling. A lot of noise going on. Keep the background.
3, 2, 1.
Here at the Pioneer sideline.
We covered the real sports.
On another season, the Penguins are just getting started with the regular season this week.
Pioneer sideline.
The show that starts your Friday mornings has returned with both familiar and new faces. Daybreak host Taylor Fife and Delaney Bomas are bringing you the latest updates in Pittsburgh and Point Park news. We also have a variety of talent on our free segments. Whether it be singing, dancing, or indeed egg smashing. Start your mornings with us at Daybreak on UView at UView Television.
Welcome back. The Penguins welcomed in the St. Louis Blues and the Philadelphia Flyers into town over the weekend for a couple of back-to-back home games.
And the Steelers are taking advantage of the free agency market this offseason as they added a new name to their roster over the weekend. For more information on all things Pittsburgh sports, we bring in Colton Tobias. Colton.
Thank you, Mike and Allison. Well, this was not the week at all for the Penguins as they dropped both games at PBG Paints Arena this weekend. Saturday's game was a 5-1 loss to the St. Louis Blues, and to make matters worse, Evgeny Malkin was injured after a cross-check from Blues defenseman Robert Bortuzzo. He played the rest of the game, but he is now week to week with an upper body injury, which has 9 more games left to go. And the nightmares continue against the Flyers as the Pens lost another game to their arch rival on Sunday in heartbreaking fashion. The Pens had a 1-0 lead until James Van Riemsdyk tied the game with 18 seconds left to go on the clock to force overtime. Then with 3 seconds left to go to force a shootout, Sean Couturier scored the game winner as the Flyers are trying to stay alive in the playoff race. This was almost the same situation the Penguins faced in the Stadium Series game a few weeks ago when they gave away a late 3-1 lead and lost in overtime. The Penguins are back in action tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes in a pivotal game in the Metropolitan Division race, as the Hurricanes are only 3 points behind the Pens for third place in the division. Moving over the football, the Steelers are trying to get some more help on defense as they sign linebacker Mark Barron from the Rams in a 2-year deal. According to NFL.com, Barron recorded 43 total tackles last year with Los Angeles. He recorded 73 tackles with the team in 2017. And the season is over for Pitt basketball as their season came to an end last week as they lost in the second round of the ACC tournament to Syracuse. The Panthers finished the season with 14 wins overall and just 3 wins in ACC play.
All right, thanks, Colton. Now, there was a new rule made this past offseason in the NHL with the intention to benefit offenses around the league.
And as time is running out in the regular season, we are finding out if the rule change was effective or not. For more details on the story, we bring in Taylor Spirito.
Thanks, Mike and Allison. An underlying storyline in the NHL has been making headlines as the season nears the playoffs. During this past offseason, rules were changed to make the goaltender's chest and arm pads and pants smaller, meaning that opposing teams have more room to shoot and score. According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, teams are scoring an average of over 3 goals per game this season, the highest average since 2006. Powerhouses like the Tampa Bay Lightning have taken advantage of this rule change as they just picked up their 55th win of the season and have already clinched their playoff spot and the President's Trophy. Other teams are proving that this rule is leading to more goals, like the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-6 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers and the Arizona Coyotes 6-1 win over the Anaheim Ducks this past week. And it's no secret that Bryce Harper is a big name to watch out for this baseball season, as the outfielder signed a 13-year, $330 million deal with the Philadelphia Phillies this offseason. During a spring training game, Harper took a 96-mile-per-hour fastball to the right ankle. He left the game but returned less than 48 hours later as a designated hitter against the New York Yankees. Harper played in a minor league game on Monday and is expected to return to the Phillies on Wednesday against the Detroit Tigers. Opening day is 9 days away, and Harper is 0 for 8 in Grapefruit League play with 4 walks in 14 plate appearances.
Thank you, Taylor. When we come back, our reporters will be discussing who they think will survive and advance all the way to the Final Four this year.
They'll be debating who they think will make it out of the east and west side of the bracket. All that and more coming up next, only on the Pioneer Sideline.
I know just the trick. Bippity, boppity, boo! Much better. Guys, Samir next, and I'm outside of the Benedum Center right now. So in just a few moments, we're going to go inside the Benedum Center to talk to Trevor Dion Nicholas, who plays the genie in Disney's Aladdin. I'm Samir Nefsey giving you the theatrical scoop for the Berg. Hey guys, so I'm now inside the Benedum Center with Trevor Dion Nicholas, who plays the genie in Disney's Aladdin.
Welcome back. 68 teams are in the field for the 2019 NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament, but only one will come out on top.
Will one of the big schools like Duke or North Carolina come out victorious? Or will there be a Cinderella story team in the making history? this coming March. For tonight's Case of the Week, we welcome in Sienna Schro, Colton Tobias, and Nick Kosiski. Guys, let's just start off looking off at the East and West, left side of the brackets there for you. What games are really sticking out to you, and which ones are you excited for to start off?
I guess I could start off. So, a game I'm very excited about is LSU versus Yale. Because the reason is, for some reason, well, I guess they're smart for a reason, the Ivy League, the school from the Ivy League always seems to put up a good fight, so that is something I'm very excited about.
Well, Yale is first in the Ivy League division, so like they should have some fighting component to them. But let's see how they do with like big party schools and other big schools.
I think Syracuse and Baylor is going to be a good one too, because I think that's going to be really, close competition. That was like one of the ones I struggled, putting on a bracket plus the seed 8 and a 9. Always, you don't know what to put.
It's always hard to put those because they're from two powerhouse conferences. Yeah, so you're right, Nikki. I mean, those ones are always hard to pick.
Exactly. I did pick Yale, by the way.
Really? Oh.
So I do agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, a couple years ago they did. They won that first round matchup, and then they went on to play Duke, and they gave Duke a run for their money. Unfortunately, came up a little short. But I want to go back to that Syracuse pick. Syracuse went on a very good run. It was all the way to the Final Four a couple years ago as like an 8 or 9 seed. Now, Nick, if Syracuse wins, they're playing the team on your shirt right there underneath your jacket, potentially if they get out of the first round. Do you think Syracuse has a chance to knock off a number 1 seed maybe in that second round?
No. Gonzaga's winning the whole thing.
Yeah, jeez.
Didn't you say that last year too?
I say it every year.
Every year.
Okay, that's
My
what
brother
I thought.
does too.
I also called the 16 upsetting a 1 seed, so hey.
He did. We'll touch more on that later because that team's on the other side of the bracket.
alert.
Now, guys, some of the big upset, we won't consider 8-9 an upset. If a 9 beats an 8, that's not really an upset. But sometimes the most dangerous ones are the 5 and 12 ones. This year you got Mississippi State versus Liberty. And then down in the West you have Marquette and Murray State. Do you think either of those teams could pull off spoilers there, Murray State or Liberty?
I actually have both upsets there. I have Murray State and Liberty going on to the next round, so I think it's Liberty's was kind of like a gut pick for me. I just always have this feeling. I really don't, I guess, watch college basketball too much, but I follow it enough to know, and I just had a gut pick about this, and it's kind of the same with Murray State as well because I really haven't heard anything that Marquette has necessarily done this year. So
I do have Murray State, but that being said, I also have them getting knocked out by Florida State in the next round. So
I actually have them going to the Sweet 16
Wow.
and getting out by Gonzaga.
You know what, Colton? I'm
all
with
right.
you, but I have them getting knocked
I like
out by
that.
Syracuse.
I don't even have them continuing out the
Syracuse
first round.
I actually have Syracuse as my Elite 8, and we'll transition the conversation over there to Elite 8. Is Duke going to do it, make it all the way there as the number 1 seed? Has been one of the powerhouses all season long. Who do you guys have going to the Elite 8 up there, March 30th to March 31st?
I do have Duke. I gotta have Duke. It's a big blue devil. You gotta have it going. It has such a strong role in past and history. So why can't it keep going now?
Keep going down the bracket there. Who do you have Duke going against? Is Michigan State going to come out? A couple years ago, they were bounced as a number 2 seed to a 15 seed in the first round, and that burned a lot of brackets.
I do have Duke and Michigan State going against each other. So we'll see how it plays out.
I have Duke and Michigan State once more because you're right, Turk. I mean, I do remember that because that did mess up my bracket. But I mean, I think Michigan State made a big statement in the Big Ten championship game this weekend, and also Duke as well. Actually, to be honest, I actually have Duke going all the way because, I usually don't pick Duke because since I'm a Pitt fan, I'm kind of biased about that. But I'm jumping on the Zion bandwagon this year. I mean, I've never seen a player like that, and I just think with his potential, and also not to mention with R.J. Barrett as well, I seriously think Duke can win it all this year for the first time in 4 years.
I have Duke versus Louisville.
Louisville.
Where do I
got
They're always that team that they sneak up on you.
I have Louisville upset in the first round, Nikki. So.
Don't sleep on them. Do not sleep on Louisville. Take the pillow away.
I don't even have. I got Minnesota beating them.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I
don't. But then I have Michigan State beating them.
Yeah, Louisville's always a good team. They're either going to lose in the first round, or they can make a run in it. So you never know. So let's move down to the West.
Wait. Who do you have?
I have Duke and Michigan State. It's not exciting.
I have Duke and LSU.
LSU, interesting.
Oh,
Another
okay.
team I don't have getting out in the first round because of Yale.
Yeah.
As we established.
I didn't
Yale
jump
part.
on the Ivy League bandwagon.
Didn't jump on it, but I appreciate it.
There you
So
go.
like, there's a difference.
Let's transition down to the West there. who do you guys have in those two facing off in the Elite Eight? Go ahead, Nick. We'll start off with you.
I got Gonzaga and Las Vegas, or Nevada. And
All right.
obviously I have Gonzaga winning, or else I wouldn't wear
You like
the
your
shirt.
7 seeds.
Huh?
You like the 7 seeds.
I do. 7's a good number. 3 7s in Vegas. Nevada, jackpot.
You gotta look at that stuff sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of makes sense. Go ahead, Cole.
I'm just playing it safe here, guys. I have Gonzaga and Michigan because I think Michigan is really going to have a lot of fire to them, knowing that they made it all the way to the championship game last year and losing to Villanova. So
They've choked in all the previous
I don't know
years.
about that, Sian. I mean, I just think that they'll have the fire left in them to maybe go. But I do have. Oh, I have them going to the Final Four.
So wait, you have 1, 2 in the top half and 1, 2 in the bottom half, correct?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. All right.
Gotta play it safe.
You
can't play it safe.
sometimes. Go ahead, Sienna.
It's March
So
Madness.
I have Gonzaga and I have Texas Tech.
Okay.
I thought I'd throw something in there because, between them and Michigan, in all the games I've seen before, Michigan chokes. They can make it past the first round. They can make it normally sometimes past the second. But after then, they start to choke and the pressure gets to them. So I have them dropping out.
All right, real quick, who do you have?
I have Gonzaga and Michigan because I took Michigan all the way last year, and they didn't really let me down until the final. So I've got to keep riding that.
All right, real quick, I just got Syracuse, Texas Tech. I will not pick on that right now, just for time limits. But Final Four, guys, who do you got going to the Final Four and going into the championship? Go ahead, Colton.
Oh, I guess
Looks like
okay.
you're ready.
Okay, so I got Duke and Michigan and also Kansas State and North Carolina, and I have the third rematch of the year against Duke and North Carolina.
Okay.
I got Duke, Gonzaga, Villanova, and Kansas.
All right.
Focusing on one side, Nick.
Oh, you said Final Four.
They both
Yeah,
did.
yeah, you
Top
said Final
side.
Four. Yeah, that's what I thought.
My apologies.
Left side.
Okay. So.
Left side. Keep it
So
on the left
just-
side.
Two teams.
Just
We're
team
ahead of
teams.
the
I have
game.
Michigan
We're
State
ahead
and
of the game.
Gonzaga.
Duke and Michigan.
Duke and Texas Tech for there
All
to
right.
start off. So, guys, now, thank you, but that's not the end of this March Madness debate.
Don't go anywhere because when we come back from break, we'll be discussing the South and Midwest sections of the bracket.
The United Student Government at Point Park University, working since the 1970s to solve the issues that matter to you. What concerns do you have about the university? Student life, safety, food service? Send us an email to studentconcerns@pointpark.edu or stop by our office on the 7th floor of the Student Center. You can also attend our weekly open meetings on Mondays at 3:15. Follow us on social media at USG_PPU for more. The United Student Government, by the students, for the students.
The Point Park Sports Network, bringing you live coverage of Pioneer Athletics on Stretch Internet, the home of the River States Conference and the NAIA. Subscribe today for complete access to the Point Park volleyball, baseball, basketball, and soccer teams. Watch live and on-demand broadcasts and don't miss a minute of Point Park Athletics. Head to pointparksports.com/live for broadcast listings. The Point Park Sports Network, your streaming home for Point Park Athletics.
Like 3, 2, 1.
Please visit our website. Please, it's a nice website. Please visit our website. Please.
If you have ever watched television, whether accidentally or on purpose, YouView is for you.
Welcome back. Now it's time to switch to the right side of the bracket, discussing the South and Midwest sections.
North Carolina is the #1 seed in the Midwest, and Virginia is the #1 seed in the South. Virginia was the #1 seed last year in the tourney, and they lost to UMBC. It was the first time a 16 seed knocked off a #1 seed. And the only guy I think to call that in the world is in studio tonight on the far end, Nick Kosiski. No UMBC this year, Nick.
Oh, you talking about me.
Virginia #1 seed. What do you think? Is Virginia going to choke again, or can they get past a 16 seed this time?
I thought about it a lot, but I think they're going to get past. I think they learned from their mistake for sure. But for me, it was a success.
All right, guys, we're not going to spend too much time on that. I was going to give him his 15 seconds of fame there with that one. So
It's
let's
like
just
20 seconds. He's good.
20 seconds. All right, let's just look at that right side of the bracket there. South and Midwest, what games are sticking out to you guys on that side of the bracket? Yeah,
Anyone?
there's a couple.
I see. I got Villanova and St. Mary's because I actually have St. Mary's knocking off the defending champions in the first round because I just really thought that Villanova just really wasn't anything special to me this year, and I just don't think they maybe have what it. I guess they necessarily don't have what's in them to repeat. And when they won the championship in 2016, I had them repeating in 2017, and they let me down. So I figure I just can't trust them again after they won. So.
See, I know
I'm a Tar Heels fan, so I love it. So I'm gonna have them going against Iona, and I'm really confident in them coming out there. And like I have them make them all the way. I think they're gonna win it all.
Now, a team a lot of people are talking about is a small little school from South Carolina, number 7 all the way down there in the Midwest, going against Seton Hall. Wofford going against Seton Hall. They're a very good three-point shooting team. Do you think this team could kind of be your Cinderella this year as the number 7 seed?
I think not. I think Seton Hall is going to beat them.
Yeah,
I just don't think they have the experience that they need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with Nick either.
You guys see anybody taking down the powerhouse that is UNC down there in the bottom section? Because it's kind of been North Carolina and Duke all year.
Nah,
Kentucky down there
I
as well.
have Iona beating them, the 16 seed.
Is that the one you
I want
That's the one you predicted
yeah,
this year.
Yeah, I had to. I have a lot of fans. They've been asking me, so I have Iona beating North Carolina.
See if your up powers will work this time, Nicky.
Yeah. You heard it here
hope they
first this
fail.
time, guys, again.
Pioneer
Nikki
sideline.
K picking Iona over North Carolina at 16-1.
It's not going to happen this
Not
year.
gonna happen.
Yeah, let's
No,
go to
that's
your
what they said before.
We'll see.
let's go to your Sweet 16, guys. Any really surprise teams you have there on your bracket this year?
I have Villanova and Tennessee facing off together.
I have that as well.
So I think that could be an interesting match there.
I have Cincinnati and St. Mary's in the Sweet 16.
I have Colgate versus Villanova.
Colgate.
Colgate.
Listen, I used the toothpaste when I was filling out this bracket. I was brushing my teeth, and I'm like, I give them a shot, you know?
All right, whatever works for you, man. Whatever works for you.
They're not making any farther than that, though. But
Okay, I think they do have a chance because I think Tennessee is going to actually choke. I have them out second round, so you never
There
know.
we go.
But I do have them. I do have them getting out of the first round, but then losing to Cincinnati.
you must brush
so.
your teeth with Crest.
Yeah.
You know he's been sitting on that one.
Oh,
for
he
as
has
long
been.
as
He
thought
has
it.
been.
All right.
He thought of it back in his room. He was like,
All
I
right,
gotta
come on,
bring
Final
that
Four
one.
time? What's going on?
No, Elite 8 time.
Elite
Don't
Eight.
get ahead of yourself now. Elite 8 on the right side, South and Midwest. Who do you guys have going down from top to bottom? Sienna, we'll start off on your side.
I have Virginia and Tennessee,
Okay.
and then I have North Carolina and Kentucky. So
Okay, I like your
Okay.
bottom half on
I
there,
like-
Midwest. Okay. Go ahead, Colton.
So for the South, I have a little bit of an upset bracket there. I have Kansas State and Cincinnati, and for the Midwest, I'm playing it safe once again. I got North Carolina and Kentucky.
You're really riding Cincinnati this year, huh? You got that much faith in them.
They're really playing it
Interesting.
safe.
Yeah, yeah.
I got Virginia, Villanova, Kansas, and Kentucky.
Kansas and
So me and you kind of 50-50 there.
50-50. We'll see what happens.
I actually have Wisconsin. I really like that team. I've always liked that team. They can always make a run if need be. Made it to the Final Four recently. Also have Villanova, defending champs. They always tend to make a run there. And I always liked Nova.
I see NCU
And then
on your
NCU,
bracket.
I accidentally wrote NCU instead of UNC for some reason. Yes, I have UNC. I had to think about it for a second. And I have to pick John Calipari's team, Kentucky. They're just too good not to pick.
All right, we don't have a ton of time left, so I'm just going to read it. I have Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Houston.
All right, guys, let's jump to it. Final four on the right side of the bracket.
Well, as I said earlier, I got
yeah.
Duke, Villanova, Gonzaga, and Kansas.
And as I said earlier as well, I got Kansas State, North Carolina, Duke, and Michigan.
I have Virginia and North Carolina, and I think North Carolina's going to take it all the way.
Okay.
All right.
Duke, Texas Tech, Nova, and North Carolina.
I have Duke, Michigan, Tennessee, and North Carolina.
Okay, so who's squaring off in the finals and who's going to be cutting down the nets at the end of the night?
Just teams for time's sake.
You already know Gonzaga.
Duke beating UNC.
Tar Heels for the win.
Tar Heels beating Duke.
I have Michigan beating the Tar Heels.
Interesting. Very
I'm
interesting.
riding Michigan again.
I'm really liking it. All right, guys, those are some good picks minus Nick's Iona over North Carolina. But if that comes back to bite me, I'll buy you dinner. All right, now that's all the time we have for this week, but be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time.
The same Pioneer channel.
And as always, the same Pioneer sideline.